Hey out there. Today I'm going to get into current events because they're so exhilarating, and I wanted to talk about the deliberate and engineered discombobulation of the public, and I want to get into the unmitigated frenzy of fraud upon fraud. And as far as current events go, I guess the biggest thing that's happened this past week, because it's a toss-up between, of course, the Pope speaking blasphemy, which is what we should expect from a substitute, a stand-in for Christ, a pseudo-Christ, if you will. And a toss-up between that and then the Russians coming out and openly before the world justifying an attack on the terrorists in Syria that are threatening the Assad regime. Now, Alex Jones had Joel Skousen on the show, which was very interesting, and he was talking about the Russian decision to go in, and it's been working up to this for a long time, this idea that the Russians weren't going to take this thing lying down, that they were allies with Syria a long time ago. And of course that means the leadership of Syria, whether it's dictatorial or not. If that's what the people want, then that's what the people should get. Basically, the reason that I understand the New World Order class, which is really the money printing class, and it's all lumped up. These guys they're allies, the banking class, the robber baron class. And they're teamed up with this New World Order, and they seek world domination through enslavement of the overall world's population through debt. And whether an individual goes into debt or not doesn't really matter to these people, because they want to put nations and states in debt, because that way they can steal from you legitimately through the debasement of your currency, which is what's been happening in America for a long, long time. What we've got is very positive events happened on the planet some 2,000 years ago, and that was Jesus Christ coming. Now this pertains to what the Pope said. The Pope came out and pretty much flatly said that Jesus failed upon the cross, suggesting that by Jesus stating that, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" on the cross was an indication of this. This would be the only reason why anybody would claim Jesus failed. And from the wise men I have talked to in my life that explained that to me, what this was Jesus feeling the intense pain of all the accumulated sin that man had ever created, all the sin that was going on at the time, and all the sin that would be committed from there on out. He was taking that upon himself. And he felt the horrors of this indictment by Satan, that the accuser of the brethren, you see, that's who Satan is also called by Jesus, the accuser. And if God forgives, who is Satan to hold anything against anybody? He can't do it. He's powerless, because the Most High owns us in our entirety. He owns our essence. He owns our heart, soul, spirit, mind. He owns our body. He can throw both body and soul into hell. There's only one to be fearful of, and that is God. That is the positive side of being filled with fear, is to be reverent. But remember, it's not being fearful against the evildoers of this world, this New World Order class, the money lovers. This is the money printing class. These are the people that want to proliferate and perpetuate in perpetuity this money-based reality as being the way to go. This is, what is best. This is success. This is prosperity. This is riches and wealth and fortune, and all good things stem from what they have to offer. So this is who you should be afraid of. This is who you should be reverent of. This is who you should be beholden to. Seek to please and honor. is these money lovers, the money masters of the world. This flies in the face. This is a direct challenge to the precepts from the Most High, which is to honor above all Him as the sole owner, sole proprietor of all that exists, period, in the entire universe. And that, of course, includes the planet Earth. That includes every single living being. Animals, plants, the whole bit, all of us. So there's good logical reason to put your fear, put your reverence in only one. And so this is what Jesus was feeling on the cross. He was feeling this pain, this intense pain of this accusation that you were guilty, you were bad, you fell, you sinned, you deserve to go to hell. Well, Jesus, in the period of 3 days when he was dead, from the time he was crucified to his resurrection, something the Pope didn't talk about, Jesus was successful. He was victorious over the cross, and he proved it through his resurrection. And he proved it before that when he raised the dead. He proved that God has the last say. He has that power. And to God, what is written is, to God all are alive, that you can't really die. So anybody that's ever lived and died is still alive. And they're just sleeping. This is how it's described. It's a sleep, the big sleep, if you will. This is what death is. So death itself is alive from the pit of hell. It can't really happen. That's God's call, who lives and who dies. And really, even the wicked live forever, but they have to go to a more painful place. So this destruction, this death, is really a form of banishment. It's a form of separation. It's separating the weeds from the cultivars, the wheat from the chaff, the sheep from the goats, the wicked from the righteous. That's what's going on here. And it's a banishment. So effectively, they are destroyed by being out of the picture. And that's what's coming to the earth. A very good thing is coming. Now, when Alex Jones had Joel Skousen on, Joel made mention that, he was really kind of elated, I forget the word he used, about the Russians making this decision. It surprised him. And I remember commenting on videos months ago, I think Joel was saying that, no, Russia's going to back down and they're going to let the New World Order have their way, probably. And I disagreed. I didn't think that was going to happen. Of course, depending on how you translate Bible prophecy, there's room for, there's some wiggle room to the interpretation, let's say. So it's not like I'm right and he's wrong, and it wouldn't matter anyhow. But the point is that he felt this was a long time coming, that they should have done something sooner, and I can't help but agree. And I feel what he feels, and I know a lot of Americans feel the same way, is that we're kind of glad that Russia is getting in there, and they're standing against these black hats within our government that have any power at all, because basically the military, if they disagree with what the black hats are telling them, they don't have to do it. They have to be beholden to their conscience, beholden to their beliefs, their faith, their God, if you will, that higher power that must subjugate these black hats, these evildoers. That's more important, okay? That vastly, infinitely more important is to be true to ourselves, be true to our conscience. So there's a lot of white hats in the government, a lot of white hats in the military that say, yes, we see what you guys have been doing. In a roundabout way, you've been supporting these terrorists, basically, whatever name they are going under, because they're going under many different names. But they've formed an alliance. And our guys have wanted to go and take care of these guys because they're a threat. You see, I'm a pacifist. And you'll never meet somebody that hates violence more than me. But you'll never see somebody that supports the Second Amendment as much as me, because I understand it. Just to digress a little bit, Joe Biggs was at this rally at University of Texas recently where it was an anti-gun rally, and he was talking to some of these people, and really they don't really know the issues that well, so they won't debate, they refuse a debate. But it's important, I think, to point out to any of these people that think guns are the problem, not society and what's going on with the individual. And the mass mental illness out there, that, we got the weakest links, like, this kid at in Roseburg recently. And this is the kind of the effect of these problems. But I mean, look, there's so many things that take more lives every day of the week, and you don't blame those things. You don't blame the automobile, because vastly more people are killed. And 99% of those accidents are preventable if people are just more cautious. If there was more public outreach, just not just about drunk driving. Of course, that's wrong, or driving on anything, right? Driving compromised, that is. But more importantly, people just aren't paying attention. And so they're focusing I see some public service announcements about texting, and just paying attention to what you're doing, being careful, thinking it through, seeing the end from the beginning. I don't want to hurt anybody with my car, because I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life. And you teach your kids accordingly. And that's a big deal, because I thank God every day I haven't hurt anybody with my automobile, because I've been driving a long time, since I was 15 and a half, and I'm 57 now, so you do the math. It's a long, long time, and in all that time, I've never hurt anybody, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to keep that record up, and I would suggest everybody do. If you haven't hurt anybody, keep up the good work. But it's really easy to do. We all have to agree how easy it would be to hit a bicyclist or a pedestrian. And I know I'm digressing quite a bit here, but the point is that, look, the gun is a tool, okay? Obama is criticizing, the Second Amendment, how easy it is for people to get their hands on guns. And yeah, I think if somebody's really disturbed, there should be a way to know if they're violent. Listen to their rhetoric, see what their thing is. I'm against violence. I really am. I hate violence, but I understand this much. I believe in loving my enemy, but I do realize that at sometimes there's necessity to kill your enemy in the name of protecting the innocent. And I say that with great compunction, because it's, what's written in the Bible, that the soul of God hates those who love violence. So I've got to hate violence. I've got to. I talk about hating my life in this world. And people don't misunderstand that. You'll never see anyone that enjoys his life more than me. I thank God every day for so much, all the time. I'm very, very grateful. I can't even enjoy my gratitude, though. I feel like a spoiled brat, because it's all relative. I see, some poor native son that's no more deserving to die out in the cold than I, but yet there it is right in front of me. And it hurts me gravely. I am that man. I am that woman. I am that homeless person. That's the way we're to look at it, like Jesus taught. He taught that whatsoever you do or fail to do for the least of men, you do or fail to do for me. Someday we're going to be held accountable by a God that doesn't prescribe to psychobabble. Every thought, every word, every deed, we're going to answer for everything. All the things we did, all the things we failed to do, all the things that we said and thought, all our thoughts, all of them are going to be on trial someday before the one that owns us, before the one that loves us, that has control of our destiny and where we go, what we deserve to acquire, what we deserve to behold from here on out. Do we deserve to take a step up, evolutionary, in a spiritual way, and go to a better world? Do we deserve it? I say that if I had my way, you'd have it your way. And I really mean that. But of course, I mean that with a